the Academy of Interactive Arts Sciences, AIAS, has announced 5 additional speakers confirmed to attend the 2019 DICE Summer Tour, discuss this year's theme of Trailblazers, Fire Starters. The conference opening keynote will be presented by Chairman of Sony Interactive Entertainment Worldwide Studios, Shawn Layden. Additional speakers include Head of Global Gaming Partnerships and Development at Microsoft Saraband, Acting President and CEO of the Entertainment Software Association Stanley Pierre-Louis, and Creative Director at Insomniac Games, for Marvel's Spider-Man Bryan Intihar Intihar will be joining AIAS Gamemaker's Notebook podcast, host Tab Price on the stage. An interview about the business and craft of developing one of the biggest games from 2018. As explained in a press release, game developers will SHNRE and SIGHTS into the groundbreaking principles and tools that drive and empower them, their teams, and the community at large to create better worlds in which to play and a better world in which to live. These industry experts will join previously announced speakers, including Greg Broadmore, Hennig, Yves Jacquier, and Jon Shafer. For more information about the DICE Summit, which is being held from February 11th to the 13th at the Aria Resort Casino, Los Angeles, click here. Jon Shafer examines his personal journey through the development of At the Gates. Game developer and Civilization 5 lead designer Jon Shafer has shared a deeply personal post on his blog about his life during the development of his game At the Gates, offering an honest retelling of the toll indie development can take on a person, and the complicated responsibilities and rationalizations of solo development. It's a story that will no doubt resonate with other game developers, both indie and AAA, and Shafer also shares his experiences as a sort of cautionary tale to other game developers, with the goal of giving fellow devs advice and encouragement to avoid or rather the same complications and pressure he saw during At the Gates' 7-year development. But in addition to a harrowing retelling of those darkest and most difficult moments, Shafer shares how he worked to turn his life around. First through small changes and focusing on overcoming seemingly small hurdles, one at a time. And while we often hear about stories of burnout, rarely are those made totally real for us. It's always something at a distance, something impersonal, shares Shafer. In this article I hope to pull back the curtain and show how bitterly dark it can be behind the public veneer. There were many moments where I did giving up on everything, and saw no future for myself, none whatsoever. I am thankful now that I did not give up, because I came very close. Video Game Deep's weekly newsletter from video game industry watcher Simon Carless, GDC Gamasutra co-runner, rounding up the best long-read standout articles videos about games every weekend. This week's highlights include a detailed look at what 2019 may bring in terms of business trends games, as well as a whole host of other leftover 2018 highlights, daily meditations on games, a Chinese indie megahit, and lots more. Phew. So we are in that just before it all kicks off, New Year period, and I hope you are returning to work with a happy attitude and a relaxed demeanor. Actually, we are just getting really amped up for Game Developers Conference 2019. As all the latest news shows, hope a bunch of you can make it. Until next time, Simon, Curator. Opinion. Here's what 2019 will be like for the game biz. Just Van Jonen Gamasutra article. 2019 promises to be a great year in games. Innovation and competition will elevate the industry's offerings and drive more inclusivity among a broader range of audiences. Simon, as note, will link this onto Gamasutra from Juice's excellent newsletter, which I would recommend subscribing to. The history of dance emotes in 15 GIFs, looking PC gamer article. It's a little funny how much we have come to expect dance emotes in modern games. Obviously dance does not top our list of demands like 5K support or unlocked frame rates. But it's honestly hard to imagine a mode without a diligently programmed it. My favorite game animation of 2018. And Floyd no frame plus YouTube video. Here's a list of 2018 games with amazing animation. Simon, just note, Floyd, X extra credits. It's a really smart video game X animation type. So this is a nice roundup. The 40 games we cannot wait to play in 2019. And reverse the Verge article. The year is almost over. Which means it's time to start dreaming about all of the great games you will be playing in 2019, and it sure looks like there will be a lot. Next year is shaping up to be packed with notable releases. From the charming world of Animal Crossing to the violent action of Gears of War, the United States, and the design of 90 FPS games. Chris Franklin Aaron signal you to video. The United States is a game that harkens back to FPS games from 20 years ago. Is it just a warmed-over collection of old head tropes? Or does the game make a case for something like this being made today? Press a 2018 the year's best Videogame Soundtracks. Chris Redfearn-Murray a closer listen article. This year, the proliferation of unique styles and new approaches to old genres brought video game soundtracks to what is perhaps a mood, high in quality and thought. From niche to popular composers, classical traditions to synthwave, everything we celebrate from 2018 bears the mark of being distinct, whether a modern spin-on-mode or just a modern, ducking up the game design omnipotent. Year 0. Bryant Francis Gamasutra article video. Thanks in no part to a foul-mouthed talking duck. Mutant. Year 0 has managed to find an audience and a strong niche in the strategy game space, showing how even a stripped-back version of can deal with the right tone and sense of polished. The Bandersnatch episode of Black Mirror and the pitfalls of interactive fiction. Simon Park in New Yorker article. Interactive fiction, RIF, is an old and treasured mode of video game design. Per the veteran designer Sid Meier, a video game is a series of interesting choices. In many ways, the multi-branched story is the purest expression of that idea. Bandersnatch is a Netflix episode, so it's by necessity simpler than many RIF games. But it also demonstrates both the enduring allure of the format and its exasperating limitations. A breakout story, Layden Johnson The History of How We Play article. The early years of Silicon Valley are jam-packed with legends and so many crossing events happening simultaneously. Jobs' intersection with the story is very much conjecture with a backdrop of absence that very much complicates the story. Sussing out the factors of the creation of this breakout prototype is difficult, so let's go through the process which led to the current conclusion. Burden like its 1899 inside blockbuster American West video game, Nicholas Long Audubon article. The first time I see a ravens, I flush them out of an alpine metal carpet with wildflowers. I pause to watch the flock fly off towards the distant, snow-capped peaks, trailed by their echoing croaks. When a man riding by on horseback bumps into me, irritated, I shoot the man dead, and take his hat. So it goes in. Red Dead Redemption 2, Deorbital Presents, Amr Al-Aaser's 2000, Undated Games of Theyar, Amr Al-Aaser Deorbital article. I constantly struggled to both get my hands on everything I wanted to check out. At one point, I had over 60 tags on my phone full of promising titles that I have still not got around to. Even as I write this, I am covering the games that threaten to shuffle this list out. Simon, just note, I know enough best games already. This one's fun because it's distinctly alternative. The best writing in games in 2018. Wes Fenlon PC Gamer article.